Hey, what's up guys? With the new movie Blue Beetle coming out, I was actually inspired to make an exact replica of his helmet, and in this video I'm going to be showing you exactly how I did it. Let's get to it. Alright, so before getting into this, I would highly recommend checking out my 3D 101 playlist and then looking for how I scaled my head for free. I used a free app called Scandy Pro. This is not sponsored, but with that app, you're able to take one scan per week. So I got this scan of my head, and now what I'm able to do is make sure before I print that this helmet is going to fit, which it does. But what I want to make sure when I'm doing this is that none of my head is poking out of the helmet or the file. So what do I mean by that? If I was to drop this helmet down just a little bit more, you'll start to see my hair and my head start to come out. That would be bad. That would mean, hey, it's too small, you got to scale it up a little bit. Trial and error, doing this a couple of times, you'll start to get the hang of it and start to get the feel of it as well. Okay, so quick learning lesson. I've said this in a couple of my other videos, but you definitely want to build the model up slowly so that way you can ensure that nothing is going to fail, which kind of happened. This is the orientation that I wanted to print the helmet in, and if you come up kind of slow, right here, you'll see right here on both sides that print is pretty much starting off in air, so it's going to cause a fail. And the reason that it's going to cause a fail is because it's printing in air. Something that small is something that you should look out for. You'll start to see that it not only happens there, but right here for this second magnum port, this happens as well. Right here, on both sides again as well. So this is why I like to do this, just go up one by one as I'm printing a file to see exactly what's going to happen. And as you can visually see, this is the fail. And you could see, like, just as I was mentioning, right where that little piece was going to be coming up, that's basically where it failed. If you didn't see the Scandy Pro video where I scaled my head, or if you don't have an iPhone to actually do that, another method that you can do, you wouldn't want to go this far, but this fail happened. It wasn't anything to do with the printer. This came from the jaw. So the reason this failed is just because my power went out for a little bit. So that wasn't anything to do with anything. But this does help because let's say the raft that I have under this, what I can do is I can stop the print there early, lift it off the bed, and now I can tell that it fits. I wouldn't let it build up this high either. I would probably let it just get like a couple millimeters up. That way I have like the basic frame of it, put it on my face, and I can tell if it fits or not. So that's a cool little tip for you guys to learn there too. So it's a good thing that happened, so that way I can show you guys that. In most cases, that's gonna be like 5-10 minutes and not too much filament. That's why I said do not let it print up too high, just get the basic form of it, and then stop and then try it from there. Back to the video. And these here are the cuts that I went with. So I just basically split it in half. As you can see, for this bottom half, it's going to print a lot quicker, and I'm not going to need supports. And the same thing for the dome. So like I mentioned in my Daredevil helmet, usually I slice things not only to show you guys, but I slice things also to make things a lot quicker and to prevent any fails. But normally you'll see me have these little stubs under it, and the reason why I do that is basically just to create balance. So when the printer's moving, when the nozzle's moving, it won't tilt this helmet to create a failure because it has these little pegs there as like support. I just put these pegs here again to create support, just like a bridge. Alright, so there's a little bit that we have to get to on this one, guys. As always, I am so happy that I got a palm sander now, because as you can see the top of this head, it's gonna need a little bit of work. So like I mentioned, I did the bowl method with this one, printed this upside down. But the good thing is there's not like a lot of detail on the top of this head, so that's why I did it, because I knew there would be nothing that I really lose. The good thing about this file is that pretty much everything has a magnet port, so everything is just gonna snap into place. Trying this helmet on, this thing fits like a glove to my face. I'm gonna be using a different duplicate color for this one to get that kind of blue, and gotta be using plexiglass for the eyes as well. So if you see my Daredevil video, definitely check that out. It's the first method where I actually tried using plexiglass, and if you see my upcoming video, Iron Man's Endgame arc reactor, it's gonna be another place where I use that plexiglass. So normally I use window tint in order to make these eyes, make these lenses. There definitely is a yellow window tint that I could have used for this, but I kind of want something a little bit different to show you guys something a little bit different as well. So that yellow is going to be transparent as well, so that way I can actually see out of it. So stay tuned, guys. Let's get into it. This is what it looks like after a hard day's worth of sanding. I'm just kidding. As you see, the palm sand knocked a lot of that top stuff down. It got like a little hand cramp, so bear with me. But a good tip to prevent that from happening is you just take this stuff one at a time, basically. Just kind of get in a groove, get comfortable, put on your favorite TV show, anything like that. Take out what you can, and then stop, and then come back a little bit later. So the faceplate, you can either do by what's harder first or what's easier first. So of course this headpiece is one of the most challenging things right now to sand, because there's just so much to sand on it. But if you look at the back of this helmet, that's pretty simple. The side of this helmet, same thing. The faceplate was a little bit of a challenge. And then the eyes, just getting under the eyes to get like those little like layer lines or those smaller pieces there. Now a lot of this is going to be covered by the different type of primer that I use. So I'm not too concerned at this stage. It's just like the first initial sanding, just to make everything a little tacky, so that way that the primer does stick. But just take it how you want. So either if you're one of the people who wants to do the harder thing first, go ahead, take out the helmet, take out this piece first, take a break, and then come back. What you don't want to do is just overstress yourself, because then what that'll do is cause you to rush, or just cause you to be like, oh, forget it, this looks good enough, I'm just gonna go with that. So just have like a little routine schedule. Don't overwork yourself. Again, get comfortable, have some fun. I like to watch streams as I'm doing this stuff, just to take my mind off of it, laugh a little bit, have some fun. But these are pretty much knocked down, ready for the first layer of primer. So let's go ahead and get into that. Alright guys, so I finally got my hands on some. The stores around my area have been out for a little while, but luckily AutoZone was in stock, so I grabbed some spot putty to help me out with these smaller spots. And I just re-upped on some more Bondo as well. So let's go ahead and patch this up and add the next layer of primer.
Artlist.io.
let me tell you guys something. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you. I don't know if you guys have seen that TikTok, but if you know, you know. But that spot putty, oh my goodness. If Bondo didn't get into like the big gaps and holes, I would honestly just stick with the spot putty, because look at that. That everything came out perfect because of it. Like even the smaller layer lines I was able to get into, like look at that. Everything came out smooth. So after this, now I'm just gonna do one more coat of primer. The faceplate, everything. Even on the line, this is still a lot of Bondo, but I put some spot putty after it. That line is gonna go away, trust me, once I put this last bit of primer. I just sanded this down now, so that's why you can see it like a little bit more transparent, but coming in like a lot closer, you can see that you can't even really tell that that's a split. So once I put this last coat of primer on, everything's gonna be good. Now the one thing, this stuff can't like work miracles, of course. So I had like a little dent here, you can see, like really small in there. I just got a little too aggressive with the palm sander in the beginning stage, but everything other than that, I can't be more happier. This is probably gonna be like one of the best finishing paint jobs that I've done. Even those little lines that I was mentioning earlier in the eyes, those are all gone. I'm super happy with what that did. So I'm super happy that I was able to find some of that spot putty. Like I said, I knew that that was the difference, because the Bondo does a good job, but it just doesn't get into those smaller parts. So now let's go ahead and do this final stage of primer, and then we'll be ready for paint. And now finally, just a plexiglass for the eyes. If you've been keeping up with my shorts, which a lot of you have, thank you for that. It seems like you guys really like the shorts. The reason I have this cut out like this is because I was actually using this as a test for the Iron Man arc reactor they're making. But like I said, I still have enough. Just going to be a little different from the way I traced that one out, because with that one I was able to use like a black Sharpie. With this, obviously not, because you would still see that afterwards. So I'm going to trace this out with like using the X-Acto knife that I have, or I'll just split this down a line and then just because it's plenty of space, and fit those behind. Let's get to it.
Artlist.io.
I can't even imagine. Oh my goodness, I can't even express it in words how good this looks. This came out perfect. The color blue, I did a couple of layers of it, when I was spraying this outside, it was bright. So for me, it was looking like the color was like a little too light. So I kept going coat on coat on coat. That looks amazing. I can't be more happy with that. The flat black came out good. It's not too reflective. I feel like the color blue that I used, there were different colors that were kind of close, but I feel like this represents it in the best light possible. The eyes for the, oh my, the plexiglass eyes. Now there were a couple of different ways that I could do this. Obviously, I always use window tint, but I didn't want to use that. As you've seen on my Daredevil helmet, plexiglass is something that I've been testing out. And if you, my upcoming video with my Iron Man arc reactor, you'll see that that's in there as well. It's a little challenging. I mean, with the Dremel, it's a lot easier. But basically all I'm using is just like a little blade and just cutting out the sides and then peeling it off. The Bondo, the spot putty worked. This thing came out beautiful. Not too many like nicks and knacks that you see there anymore. The paint laid on there perfectly. I'm super happy with this, the way that this came out. But enough, and the good thing about the plexiglass is it's see-through. So for the first time, I'm about to throw this on and show you guys what that looks like. All right, guys, so thank you as always for hanging out with me in the comic shop and actually seeing how I brought this to life. There's always more coming up. So again, if you like this video, definitely hit the like button. If this video helped or inspired you or actually brought awareness of the movie, definitely hit the share button and just stay tuned to see what's coming up next. Definitely hit the subscribe button. As always, guys, it's BZ Comics. Thank you for hanging out. I'm out. I like how like everything kind of comes apart from this helmet. Like literally you can break it all down one by one, piece by piece. It's a cool helmet. I really like it. I actually seen the Broken Nerd, shout out to him. His faceplate has like a lot of detail in it. I wish I could have gotten in, I was trying to get in contact with him to see if I could actually make that file because the mask on his looks beautiful. So check his out. It's the Broken Nerd. But besides that, guys, I got something big coming up next. Shh. You have to stay tuned to see it. Stay subscribed.